Good evening, everybody. Good to be back with you. I am today, finally, after seeming like an endless winter, back on the decks of the Buona Fortuna, which is sort of my happy place. I don't have my crew with me today. Teenagers, burn out at this time of year. School is a lot, and they've been at it. And I think with coronavirus, all the rest of it goes. So forgive perhaps some not so great production value tonight as we do this. So I got a question for you. Have you ever had a dream? I mean, a really, really good dream. Like the kind of dream where you just thought, if this could just happen, oh my goodness, life would be so amazing. And then you share that dream with somebody, and they either don't get it, no matter how much you try to explain it, or they get it, but they don't get it the way you intended it. So they say, oh yeah, I get it, I love it, yeah, I'm gonna do that, I'm going with it, I'm with you, I'm right there with you. But as they follow through on this, they're not doing it the way you envisioned that it would be, and they're not taking it to the places that you thought that it would go. And so this dream somehow falls to pieces and is not actually the dream that you were looking for. I wonder if that's happened to you. We all have dreams, I'm sure. We all know about that. I mean, to my point, to some degree, this is a dream for me. All my life, I think I've thought about having a boat that was large enough to have down on the water, so I could come down on Friday night and watch a beautiful sunset and enjoy the birds chirping when they're not pooping on the boat, and just kind of get involved in it and enjoying the way things work. This is a relaxing concept to me, but this is not the kind of dream that I'm talking about. I'm talking about the big dreams, the life-changing kind. Well, there's two guys that I want to talk to you about specifically with this when we talk about dreams. And the first one is a fellow you might know who famously said, I have a dream. And his name, of course, is Martin Luther King Jr. And the reason I bring up Martin Luther King Jr. is because he had a big dream. He had a dream about a life and a world in which people did not look at each other in terms of whether they fit in or not. He had a dream about people looking at each other, simply saying, I am a human, you are a human, I love you, you're as good as I am, I'm as good as you are, and so on we go, and we all have the same opportunities. We treat each other with respect and with love, and what a dream that would be. I really not going to get too lost in the weeds because I'm going to do this kind of quick tonight, but Martin Luther's dream is probably one of the best dreams that I think I've ever heard, and people picked up on it. I'm not sure he would be happy or sad with the way this is all working out at this point. I don't really think that he'd be particularly very happy, as I think he really had a very purist concept of how this would work. He wasn't talking about pushing some people in front of other people. He was talking about people all being on the same plane, equal, all looking out for each other and treating each other like worthwhile humans. I like Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream. And I don't think that his came purely out of the blue, because he was a follower of Christ. And that brings me to the other guy that I wanted to talk to you about with his dream. And that would be Christ. And there's so many places that you could go to when you talk about dreams and Christ. You could go just about anywhere you want to in there, although I'm pretty sure that you probably have not heard this referenced in terms of dreams per se. But I want to lay out to you kind of the picture that he laid down, because when he came, what he told us was that he was here to reveal the truth about the Father. He also told us by his actions that he was teaching us how to live and how to treat one another and how to be a part of the family of God. In doing so, he lays out a vision or a dream for how life should be. When he's in the upper room and he sees the fellows bickering about who the greatest is, he takes off his outer coat, he gets down on his knees, and he begins washing their feet. And when he comes to Peter and Peter doesn't want him to wash his feet, he tells Peter, listen, buddy, if you don't let me do this, if I don't wash your feet, you're never going to be a part of my kingdom. Peter thinks this is symbolic, and so he tells him to wash everything. But Christ says, this is not symbolic. This is the way it works. Your feet are dirty, the rest of you's not. This is what it means in my vision. I have a vision where people, instead of looking at one another as conquests or objects or opportunities to gain or to push yourself further. I have a dream where in life people look at each other as equals, that they just want to see that whatever that person needs is done and taken care of. Man, a world where people actually put each other's first. Well, the place that I'm going to take you to is John 4. And John 4, why do I pick this out of John? I just like the way this story is told. Christ is on the way up a hill. Let's just say he's climbing a hill to fetch a pail of water. His disciples are back in town getting food, and he is making his way up this hill, not to fetch a pail of water, but as it happens, there's a well on the hill, and there's a woman there drawing water. And as he comes up to her, he says, "Woman, give me some water." Now, if you're feminists in here, then you might be saying, "Oh my goodness, I don't like this dream where men just come up and tell women what to do." But in the culture that they lived in, that seemed to be the way things worked. But the really beyond this is that the way he did this is not the way it works in the culture. In fact, by asking her this, he's bestowing on her an honor that she doesn't believe she deserves. And we see this in that she responds to him saying, "Sir, why would you even talk to me? You're a Jewish rabbi, and I am a Samaritan woman." Samaritans were of mixed blood, and so Jews didn't treat them well. They saw them as lower class citizens. They were not coming close to Martin Luther King Jr.'s vision, his dream of a better place, a better world. Well, Christ is able to respond to this. And what he tells the woman is this: if you knew who was asking you for water, you would turn around and ask me for water, and I would give you the kind of water that never runs out. Well, all right, that sounds good. As they continue their talk, he asks her if she worships God, and she says to him something very interesting. She says, "I would worship God, except you Jews won't let me. The only place that you say we're allowed to worship is in Jerusalem, and you won't allow us to come to the temple and worship because we're Samaritans." Now, Christ's response on this is an interesting one, because he's not trying to give her man's, and I don't mean male man, I mean human man's equality. He's looking to give her God's equality. He's looking to restore her to the better vision. And so he tells her that him being there is something much greater than anything she could ever imagine. He tells her, when he tells her that if she asked him, he would give her water that she never ran thirsty for, he is telling her something that they in their culture understood to mean spirituality, a connection to God. You can get this by reading the story of the Festival of the Shelters right before the woman caught in adultery, where he stands up and he says, "I am the living water." That is on purpose. They always finished their Festival of the Shelters by talking about water, because they're literally celebrating, praying, thanking for, pre-thanking for a good harvest to come, which requires water. And so it becomes all about this. But they have this neat spiritual tie where they talk about dust being spiritually void and water being spiritually alive. And so all of that really does mean something to them and to him, and to her when he tells her this. Now the disciples come up and they're not happy that he's talking to her, and all of that just gives us, fleshes in the details of the story for what's happening here, and how, I guess you could say, inappropriate this is, but how he is sharing a different vision. He tells her she's a sinner, but that doesn't matter to him. He tells her to go and tell the people in her town that he's here, and that he's here to share with them the kingdom of heaven. In other words, as I was saying a little bit earlier, he's not giving them the opportunity to go to worship in Jerusalem, that being humans' equality. He's calling them to his vision, something better, something more connected to God, something incorruptible by man and man's picture of the way things go. Christ doesn't restore people to a broken world. He restores people to the perfection that they're created in. Christ doesn't care if you're black or white or green or yellow or purple or this or that or Samaritan or whatever. What Christ cares about is that you're created as a child of God and that you're intended to be part of the family. And so he doesn't even bother putting her back into the culture of equality. He actually gives her the opportunity to rise above and challenges her to bring others to that point too. I have to say, were Christ here today, would he be happy with the way the church is carrying out his vision? Would he be happy with the way that we're sharing the kingdom with others? Or would he see us much like those Jews, saying, if you want the truth, you got to come to me and you got to do it my way or else? Christ had a vision wherein people didn't judge one another. They simply met each other where they were and sought to do whatever they could to lift one another up. Not up into some glorious realm of power and might and superiority, up into connectivity with their Creator. That's all I have for you today. I thank you, I love you, and I challenge you to follow Christ's vision.